all through this video, since the circumstance is not providing us the opportunity to physically meet because of the virus effect spreading around the country, or not only in the country, around the world. I hope shelter in place or stay at home orders have been strictly followed and has to be followed by every citizen of the country, because it is the responsibility of every single citizen of the country. So in a situation like this, we decided to give these lectures without meeting physically, since it is not possible, at least to some time to conduct our lectures through electronic form like this. The only disadvantage is there's no interaction between the students and the lecturer. You have no way of asking questions. We are very mindful about it. Therefore, in executing these lectures in this format, we are very mindful about delivering the lecture without leaving any questions in your mind. Yet for all, I think hopefully things will get better, and as it comes to a situation where we can meet, not in very long distance, but maybe in a near future, you may be able to come up with all your queries and questions, doubts, so that we will have few sessions to take up the questions what may probably come from your end, and I will provide all necessary explanation and clarifications for your issues. Today we are going to look at accounting standard based on financial instruments. There are 3 standards which are in place currently to deal with financial instruments. LKS number 32. This is a financial instruments presentation. Then LKS 39, financial instrument. The original title was recognition and measurement. Recognition and measurement. We had these 2 standards for a long time. If I am not mistaken, this was introduced in 2012, along with the adoption of International Financial Reporting Standards. They came as SLFRSS to us. And first time adoption standard came SLFRS number 1. That is the time where we had to switch from our local standards to international version of standards. Now we have them as LKSS and SLFRSS. That was it was effective from the financial period beginning from 1st of January 2012. So from then, we were going ahead with these 2 standards. But when you look at the development that was taking place internationally on this particular subject area about financial instruments, They had IAS 32 and IAS 39, which they introduced a very long time ago, even though we were not ready to adapt it for a long time, and we started it at, as I said, from 1st of January 2012. But internationally, financial instruments were, they were applying IAS 32 and IAS 39 for a very long time. But while they were carrying on with IAS 32 and IAS 39, they started developing IFRS 9, which was much more sophisticated standard adapted for financial instruments. Actually, IFRS 9 replaced most of the content, I would say about 90% of the content of IAS 39. And as they brought in IFRS 9, because IFRS 9 also they introduced in phases. So while they were bringing different matters for discussion through IFRS 9, IAS 39 got little by little scrapped off. It was, certain contents were going out of IAS 39. I'm talking about IAS 39, IAS 32, and IFRS. It's all in international version. But same thing happened to us as well. What happened was, the moment when SLFRS 9 came in, SLFRS 9, which is a very popular standard, is just financial instruments. That's the heading of it. So, with the introduction of SLFRS 9, as I told you, a large portion of the content in LKS 39 went away. Now you may ask the question that is LKS 39 is there at the moment? Or is it completely scrapped off or completely withdrawn? No, it is not. LKS 39 is still there, but for a very limited content. The content I can tell you right now, the content is all about hedge accounting. Hedge accounting is a particular section which was there in LKS 39, along with many other things. For example, how to recognize financial assets, initial recognition, subsequent recognition, then how to measure financial assets, initial measurement and subsequent measurement, and disclosures that are required to be made with regards to financial assets. That's on financial assets. Then again, financial liabilities. Once again, recognition, measurement, disclosures, all were there with regards to financial liabilities. Then they were talking about special instruments like derivatives. Now, derivatives can work as a speculative instrument as well as it can work as an hedging instrument. Then along the side of derivatives, they discussed hedge accounting in a greater detail. So LKS 39 was a very long, lengthy standard. Then with the introduction of SLFRS 9, what happened was the bulk of the content was taken out, because those matters have been addressed in SLFRS 9. Since most of the matters which were there in LKS 39 has now been discussed in SLFRS 9, they thought that LKS 39 should be scrapped down. And finally, they left the content relating to hedge accounting in LKS 39. So as we finish LKS 32, we will come to SLFRS 9 and discuss all matters related to SLFRS 9, and we'll put a stop finally talking about hedge accounting prescribed in LKS 39. So that's the route that we are going to follow. As we discuss accounting standards relating to financial instruments. Of course, the disclosure relating to financial instruments are exclusively covered in SLFRS 7. That is only a disclosure standard. It is nothing serious about it. You can even do your self-study on SLFRS 7 because it's a matter of just going through the content of it, which basically says what sort of information should be disclosed in the financial statements with regards to financial instruments, with regards to financial assets and financial liabilities largely. With that note, I would like to take you through the first standard that I am planning to discuss is LKS number 32, Financial Instruments Presentation. Financial instruments. Presentation. Since you have covered these standards at your previous level, I am trying to discuss with you all relevant and technically more complex matters without spending too much of time by going into details of each and every small items contained in the standard. And at the same time, after we finish these discussions, actually the learning material that is provided to you sometimes back that contains these standards LKS number 32 and LKS number and SLFRS number 9. This particular material you have to have with you now. After 32, we will discuss SLFRS 9. That is also contained in the same booklet. So basically from page number 1 to page number 11, 1 to 9 covers LKS 32, and from page number 10 to the end, we cover SLFRS 9. But after we complete these two standards through this material, I will discuss few specific areas that are not extensively covered in this learning material, and also which are very important at your level, at advanced business reporting level. For example, impairment. Now, impairment is a widely discussing matter these days. You know what the reason is. Now, lot of assets are now getting impaired. Impaired means now say we all in a lockdown situation, nothing is moving, economy is stranded, got stuck in one place. And if you take particularly the banking sector, financial institutional sectors, after having lent money to customers, now customers are giving up. Customers are giving up to asking for some concessions. You must be aware about all that now. It's happening. Even from corporate customers or even individual customers, they are seeking some reliefs because this is a difficult time for anybody to service their debt. So even Central Bank of Sri Lanka and also the government of Sri Lanka has recommended the banks and financial institutions to take up matters more on a humanitarian ground, to give concessions. So these concessions are various types. Some people think that we don't have to pay it at all. No, it's not the case. We don't have to pay for the loan. No, not like that. Maybe temporarily they may grant a moratorium, which means probably no capital payment for about 6 months or whatever period, only the interest payment. Or they may consider reduced interest rates. They may consider the payment term being extended, or some sort of concessions. On that again, against credit cards, they have one pattern of concessions. Many banks are offering. Or when it comes to personal loans, different set of offerings are there. When it comes to housing loan, different types of concessions can be there. But all in all, when the concessions are granted, say for example, if nothing is getting repaid for about 6 months' time, the loan may become non-performing. So when the loans become non-performing, it is a major headache for a bank or a financial institution. Then they may have to think about impairment adjustment. It is obvious and inevitable. Now in that context, the banks have written to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka asking for their opinion or asking for their direction as to how they should be treating these loans. Should they be impaired, or should they make any adjustments to the carrying amount of the loan? Should any impact should be taken to the P&L? And in that regard, Central Bank in turn wrote to the CS Sri Lanka asking for their expert opinion. And in fact, I have that letter which our president of CS Sri Lanka replied to Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the Bank Supervision Division, setting out the principles and also giving some guidance as to how the central bank should instruct the banks in turn as to how they should be treating their loan portfolio and impairment adjustments about matters of that kind. When I do have that letter, I will discuss the content of that letter as we come to discuss about impairment adjustment. You can see this letter issued by the CS Sri Lanka to the Bank Supervision Department of Central Bank of Sri Lanka. So regarding this is on clarification on interest income recognition under moratorium due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'll discuss the content of it because this is more relevant for you for your upcoming examination, because surely Chartered Institute is going to be very concerned about these matters and these issues that are rising in our economy. So at your level, for advanced business reporting paper, it can fit in very well. So the impairment adjustment I will discuss separately, and also finally LKS 39, that is entirely now the content is about hedge accounting. Those two matters, and along with that few other points that we miss out in this material, we will discuss on a separate session. After that, I'll take you through a quick revision by discussing the past paper questions and model questions pertaining to financial instruments, and at your level of testing, that is at the strategic level of examination. So we will move to LKS 32, financial instruments, but presentation. First of all, we will look at the definition of financial instrument. We need to know what financial instrument means. Financial instruments. Financial instrument is defined as a contract that gives rise to a financial asset of one entity and financial liability or an equity instrument of another entity. So it's very clear. It says financial is a contract. This is a contract. And this contract gives to one entity financial asset, and to the other entity, because every contract has two parties. So one party will have financial asset, the other party will have financial liability or equity instrument. When I put this down, what comes to my mind is our basic accounting equation. You know, assets equal, this recalls me, assets equal liability plus equity. Something similar to that. So financial instrument it encompasses three items basically. Financial asset is a financial instrument. Financial liability is a financial instrument. And equity instrument is a financial instrument. So financial, and also it says, since it's stemming out of a contract, it is stemming out of a contract. The contract has two parties and they take two sides. Actually, these are two sides. You can't have financial asset with A and B when there's a contract between A and B. But if one party to have a financial asset, other party cannot have a financial asset. He has to have financial liability or equity instrument. Similarly, one party having financial liability and